Good morning. My kids are already in specials because it's like 10 till 11, and this is the first time I've had a chance to get in front of the camera all day because it's just been a little crazy. My poor daughter is sick. She may have bronchitis, so she's home, but she's feeling well enough now that she wants to try to go to school for a little bit, and then she has a doctor's appointment after school, so I just asked on an email if I could leave early to go get her to take her to the doctor. So we'll see how that goes. And my math intervention groups worked on tally marks today. We did a practice page where they traced the tally marks and they counted, and then we did this little game where they rolled the dice cups, and I had them write a vertical number sentence and then make the tally marks for each number and then add them up and then put the total next to it. I would like to have them play this again and then have them make the tally marks all together so they can just count the tally marks this time. I had them separate the tally marks for each number this time just so I was sure they were getting both numbers, and then I could see what they were doing. Plus they were having a hard time making a vertical number sentence, even though we've talked about it. They all wanted to do horizontal, and I'm like, let's do it vertical. So anyway, I think we'll start with that tomorrow. Then we're going to practice counting on. So we may do that. We'll probably do a little bit of this review and then count on tomorrow, and then Wednesday count on a little bit more, and then we're going to do a review, and then Thursday we'll take our test and see how many people are really good at adding now that they've got all these new strategies. Also, I remember talking about these little magnetic clips from Dollar Tree, and I told you how they worked. They're not good. Don't waste your money. They don't hold anything. They have very, very weak magnet. They barely hold themselves on. So those aren't any good. Then I also told you I was going to get sit spots. They came on Friday or Saturday, and they just have like a scratchy kind of a like the scratchy side of the Velcro on your Velcro loops, and then the other side is smooth, and they stick to the carpet, and I will show you that. So you see on my rug, it looks really dirty and raunchy. I don't know why. But anyway, I've got the X's, which are work spots, and I've got the green sit spots like this that are dispersed, and those are going to be our math spots. Because inevitably, when we get ready for math, we come back from our restroom break, the kids all bunch up in a glob. And then I stand up here, on this purple, to write on the board. I'm always like working right here. The kids that are on the purple tend to get stepped on if they don't move back to the blue where I've asked them to be. So those math spots should really alleviate that problem. Plus they should have plenty of room to spread out their box and their Go Math book and their snack, because we have snack at the same time too, and they use those big green snack trays. So that's been going really well, because then they can use those for manipulatives, and then we eat them and it's done. And they've had snack and math at the same time. Today was a little frustrating because I tried to do 2 math lessons since we didn't get Fridays in, and I'm on a time crunch because we, as first grade, are trying to get chapter 2 tests done by Friday so we can use that test to group our kids for the next set of interventions that will start on Monday. And we don't have a meeting on Friday because it's homecoming, thus the pajamas. So, which I don't think I already showed you. Here's what I'm wearing today. I've got this shirt that I've worn before about the awesome sauce, and then I've got pineapple leggings. They're like LuLaRoe, but they're not LuLaRoe. They're very soft though, so I can show you kind of what they look like. They've got like a hot pink and a turquoisey color. And my friend across the hall, not my partner teacher, but the one next to her, gave me them for my birthday on Friday. She said, "I'm sorry, so sorry I'm late." I'm like, "Hey, I don't care. These are awesome." So she gave me those and some pineapple earrings, which I'll probably wear another day. So I've just got some loops. I've got a chameleon ring with a little pink, just different colors pink. I've got my Alex and Annie pineapple bracelet, and then just, nothing on my arm otherwise. I didn't do the upper eyeliner either because my eyes are so puffy from just not feeling well and not sleeping very well over the weekend because I wasn't feeling well. My daughter was coughing, and it just kind of kept me awake a little bit. That's why she's going to the doctor later. So I'm going to try to leave early so I can do that. And the rest of the day, we're going to do reading groups and Healthy Heritage after recess. And that's, and writing. We're going to start how-to writing, how to tie shoes. And I found some really cute little videos and some books on how to tie shoes. And so I better dig those out before the kids come back from, I've got a few minutes before I need to go get them from PE upstairs and go right. It's right by the lunchroom. I mean, like really, you walk out of the gym and there's lunchroom. So we don't have to do much. I just take the Germ X, which I call germ juice, with me, and I squirt them, and then we go. And then I'll probably just come back down here because I have a salad. I don't have to heat anything up. I think I'm just going to sit in here because I just don't want to. I'm tired of talking already because math was kind of like, since I was trying to do 2 math lessons and we didn't get Hello. I tried to get in 2 math lessons because Friday we didn't get to the 1 math lesson I needed. And we're trying to test chapter 2 subtraction by Friday so we can group our kids for the next group of interventions, and I need that data. And so I did 2 math lessons instead of doing a math lesson and some station rotations. We did a math lesson and then just a little bit of movement, and then went to the second lesson. And it was on using a bar model to find the missing number, and they were so lost. Even though, let me show you something. They literally do that every day on their morning work. But some of them still don't know how to do this. And so I'm hoping that that gets fixed. I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. And I showed them that they could draw pictures to find the missing number. It was fine. I said, you don't have to just use one strategy to figure it out. They do want you to fill in the information in the bar model, but how you get there, if you need another thing to do to help you get there, you can. Some of my kids are doing mental math. They can figure it out in their head. Some of them are using their fingers. That's fine. Some of them need to see it on their paper because they just can't keep track of all that information. So I told them, I said, you can still draw pictures. That's one of our strategies. You can use anything you need to figure this out. Use the strategies that you've learned. And so I showed them that I used the drawing pictures strategy and circling and crossing out the group that left to figure out what was still there. And then I showed them today's lesson was you color in parts, because it was like, I don't know, there were 5 apples total. 3 apples were red, the rest were yellow. How many are yellow? So I showed them, draw 5 circles, color the 3 red ones in with red, then how many are left? And they're like, oh, 2. And then I was like, how do you know that? Because 3 are red, and those are the only ones that aren't red. Right, and so if they're not red, they're yellow because it said the rest were yellow, and those are the rest. So I've showed them you can still draw, even though you don't have, they don't tell you to draw, you can still draw. It's okay. Use that strategy. If you want to use that, if that will help you figure out the missing number. I told them we were math detectives today, solving the mystery of the missing number. We had to be detectives, math detectives. Put your math detective hat on, and we massaged our brains, and we woke our heads up, and we wiggled around, and we got our arms all loopy and jumped around a little bit to wake ourselves up. But I tried to make it a little more, ooh, this is, more cool. But it was just, I think it was too much. too much math. Plus the fact that we do they call it power hour. We do our math intervention group. Then we take a restroom and drink break. Then we come back and do our regular math. So maybe it's just too much math at once. Except they're 2 totally different things that they do. So I'm hoping that since we have a break in between the intervention group and the regular math, that maybe it's not too much. I don't know. I think I'll just talk to them and see how it goes. So I better get going. I need to pick up my kids upstairs and take them to lunch and come back downstairs so I can eat my salad and get my head wrapped around my writing lesson for later, and probably get some books picked for the kids because I've not been picking books lately, and they really need to be reading a lot more books. So I probably will pick 2 books today, and we'll read through both of them, and I'll have them practice. I think that will work out. All right. If I don't talk to you later, it's because I had to leave early and had to pack stuff up and didn't have time to talk. So if I don't see you again till tomorrow, you'll know why. I will pop in if I can, but otherwise, I'll catch you on Tuesday. Good morning. It is not the very beginning of the day again because it started crazy again. Got here a little later than I wanted. Not late, but later than I wanted. Didn't have a lot of time to set up before the kids came, and so no time to chat. So it is Tuesday. I didn't vlog anymore yesterday because I ended up taking my daughter to the doctor. She does not have bronchitis, but she does have some kind of thing going on. So she's got cough medicine and she's got antibiotics, so hopefully that knocks whatever it is out of her and she feels better. But Saturday she had all district choir auditions and she made it. She made it to the state auditions and she's in the honor choir, so I'm so excited for her. That is great. I was a big singer in school. That was my thing. I was always doing everything music, band and choir, everything that there could be, I did. And it was amazing that she could sing at all with that creeping crud that she had. This is way down in her chest. And when she coughs, it's like a smoker's cough. It's deep. It's deep. And it's keeping her from sleeping. It's just not good. So hopefully she's on the mend now. She went to school. So hopefully she's doing okay there. She didn't take her cough medicine before she went, so I hope she isn't coughing her face off all day. But she does have a water bottle, so that should help a little. My kids are at library, and it's about 10 to 11, which is just about the exact same time I started yesterday vlogging. Crazy. Math group went really well today. I taught the last strategy today, which was counting on. They sort of kind of understood it a little bit because we used the number line and you count on the number line. So I did the tally mark thing again like I did yesterday, and then I added the counting on with the tally marks because you have to count on with tally marks. So then I showed them, yesterday I had them split out the numbers, like if they got a 2 and a 5, then I had them do 2 tally marks and 5 tally marks, then add them together. Today I had them put the tally marks all in a row. So if they had 2 and 5, I'd say, okay, do 2 and then do 5 more. But when you get to the 4 fingers, slash over the thumb and keep going until you've got all the things on there. And so, because I've taught them that when you have tally marks, it's like 4 fingers and then a thumb, and then you have a group. It's one hand worth of marks, and then you move on to the next group of marks. So that seemed to click in their heads mostly. So when I was telling them to make their tally marks, I'm like, make your tally mark fingers, but you can only do 4 verticals before you do a diagonal, and that's your thumb. And they're like, oh yeah. So I'm hoping that helps. I think it helped click a little bit, and then they could use their hand too to help them visualize, oh, I need to put, you know, every time I get 4 fingers, I need to put a thumb across. That hopefully will stick in their heads. My assistant principal came in while we were doing that, and he thought it was really cool. And so that was nice. And he was asking kids questions like, what are you doing? How do you do this? Can you explain it to me? And things like that. And the kids that he picked pretty much knew what they're doing. So it worked out pretty well. But even if they didn't, it's okay because we're still learning. That's why we're doing interventions in the first place. Yes. So I was floating around helping students add their tally marks together because they were a little confused on how to put them all together since we didn't do it that way yesterday. But I thought it might be more confusing to start that way yesterday rather than to make the tally marks, since some of them have never done tally marks before in their lives. So I thought it would be more confusing to have to make big numbers with tally marks rather than starting with the smaller ones and then putting it together. So that went well. I did the lesson on, what did we do in Go Math today? I just did it. Wow. And I erased my board already because we did a game. I swear I taught math today. Whew. What did we do today? It was more finding the missing number because we did a little bit more with the bar model since that was a little confusing. I had them use their fruit snacks today. So I had them get out however many that we knew there were and then take away the group that wasn't there anymore to show how many were left or how many had gone away, whichever way the question read. And then they could see it. Even though we drew it yesterday and they could see it on drawing, sometimes there's a disconnect between like a flat thing and an actual tactile thing for kids. So I try to do it both ways because if you can get it hands-on and have them manipulate the things and then have them draw it too, then we're hopefully hitting all of the learning styles because they're hearing it, they're seeing it, they're touching it, and they're doing it. So hopefully I've done everything I can to get them to understand the getting rid of a group and what's left. So we did more of finding the missing number, and then, holy smokes, guys, I totally don't remember what we did. Let me go look. So we did using pictures to compare, like fewer and more. So which group had fewer things, which thing had more, or how many more were there of something and how many fewer were there of something. So it started out with brown dogs. And I said, how many dogs are there? And they counted 9. And then I said, okay, we need to give these dogs 5 bowls. So you need to draw a bowl under each dog until you have 5 bowls. And they're like, but wait, but all the dogs don't have a bowl. I'm like, so how many more dogs need a bowl? And they're like, 5. I'm like, or 4. It was 4. Because I could math. And they're like, yeah, 4. 4 dogs don't have a bowl. And I said, oh, that's so sad. Maybe they'll share. But so there are 4 more dogs than there are bowls. And they're like, yeah. And I said, so there are 4 fewer bowls than there are dogs? Because what Go Math teaches them to do is to draw the thing. So like draw the 9 dogs, then draw the 5 bowls, then draw lines to connect them. I told them they were partnering the dogs up with their bowls. Like this is this dog's bowl, this is this dog's bowl, yada, yada. And then whatever doesn't have a partner, that's how many more of something or less of something that there is. And then we did like ladybugs to the leaves. We did frogs to lily pads. We did flowers to bees. I don't remember what else there was. Horses to something else. I don't even know what it was now. There are lots of little pictures. That is one thing I do like about Go Math. They do put cute little pictures, and they are in color on their page. So that's good. So that lesson really didn't take a lot of time. They understood it. After we did the first, we go all the way through until we get to the little math on the spot video, which is the problem solving section. I do the introductory pages, and then I do the on your own page, and then I do the problem solving page, and that's where the little math on the spot QR code is for the video, which I just stopped using the QR code because it doesn't always stay on. I just go to the Think Central Math site and get it off my computer now because scanning the code doesn't always make it work right, and it shuts off on us. I don't think it's the website all the time. I think sometimes it's my AirPlay. So anyway, it worked fine today. Then we had, since the lesson didn't take that long, there weren't as many pages to work on today. We had time to tear out our pages to get us caught up to today. So I told them to go from today's lesson and backwards to the very front of their book and take all of those pages out. Do you know what it's like to try to tear out pages with first graders? It's not a fun thing. And I knew it was going to be crazy, but I knew we had time today, so I thought, let's just do it. Get in there, rip the Band-Aid off, and get her done. And get those pages out of there, because we were having to flip through so many pages to get to the day's lesson, and I want them to just open up their book and there it is, because we've torn the other ones out. Because we don't need them anymore. We're not going to look at them anymore. If I need to reteach a lesson, I have reteach pages I can print off. I can't use those pages anyway because we've already done them. So mostly I went around and I said, if you have trouble, do the best you can, but I'll come around and I'll help you. And I was tearing like 4 or 5 pages at a time. And they're just like, whoa. But we seriously had a stack that thick. Like the majority of chapter 1 was still in there. And then the first 4 lessons of chapter 2 were in there too. So we just got them all out of there. And they have a stack of papers to take home. And then I told them to put their math book away. And so tomorrow when we start our lesson, except for 2 students that didn't listen very well, go figure it's the 2 that are very squirrely and chatty and don't pay attention very well, tore out tomorrow's lesson too. And the one lost his. I even looked through his whole stack of pages and could not find it. So the one student that tore out his page also still had his page and the next day's page. So he has Wednesdays and Thursdays torn out already. I went, dude, we haven't even done these yet. Why are you tearing them out? Oh, whoops. I'm like, you need to listen and follow directions. That's why it's important to pay attention. And so I took his page for tomorrow and I just copied it on the color copier. So he has a color page just like all the other ones. And I'm going to hold on to it since it's loose. It's not connected to their book anymore. I'm going to hold on to that one. And then to the kids that tore out the next one too. I will hold on to his. I put his name on the page. I've got his book too. So I'll remember to give it to him. It's in my little math basket. So I'll remember to do that tomorrow. But hopefully that won't be an issue anymore because I'm just going to have them after we finish our lesson for the day. They're going to tear out all of the pages for that lesson and take them home. Get her out of there. And I told them, we didn't do all those pages, right? And there are games in there that you can do too. So you can look through those when you get home. And if you want to do some of the pages for fun at home, go ahead. If you want to play the games with their family, that would be great too because they are in color and they're kind of cool. Like there's an addition bingo and there's a game board in there that's a 2-page spread that they get to use like a penny or something as their playing piece. And most families have some kind of dice game at home that they could steal the dice from to use for their game. So it'll be good. So I'm expecting to hear that, oh, we played a game last night or in a few days or whatever. I'm sure somebody will play a game out of there. I know some of them will just pitch them in the trash when they get home, and that's their prerogative. I did my job. I sent them home, and we did them. So that'll be good. We are trying to race to Friday to get to the Chapter 2 test. And one of the other first grade teachers that's like that way from me came up and said, I'm not ready to give that assessment yet. And I was like, oh, good. I'm not the only one. I thought I'm the one that's more behind than everyone else because I started after everyone else because I did 2 weeks of number sense before I jumped in to go math. That's a whole other story. Anyway, and she's like, I'm not ready. I don't want to push them. I don't feel like that's fair. And I said, I totally agree with you. I said, I doubled up on a lesson yesterday and it was not a good idea because they were really done. They don't have the attention span to sit there for 2 lessons. Even though I broke them up. I did the one lesson, then we did some other stuff like wiggling around and jumping and blah, blah, crazy. And then we went back to it and they were just gone. They were done. It was over. That's why I just did part of it yesterday and then I finished it up today. It was the bar model, which was hard anyway. So if you're out there in Go Math Land in first grade, I highly recommend that you do not do a double lesson. It's not a good plan. Unless you do like one lesson in the morning and one lesson in the afternoon, so it's like 2 separate things for them. Doing them in a row was not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. Now I am planning on doing that with one of the lessons and then we're in subtraction, with the subtracting all or subtracting 0, because I really feel like that's a very simple lesson and there's not much to it. They're just learning that when you take a number minus itself, it's 0. And when you take a number minus 0, it's the number again. which when I did the adding 0 to a number, they totally got it because we did it with manipulative source. We did it with whatever snack they had that day, like Cheez-Its or something. And I talked about that in the vlog a few weeks back. I remember telling them, it might have been fruit snacks. Show me like 5 fruit snacks. Now take 0 fruit snacks away. And they're like, what? Like, and I could see their minds twirling. Like, how do you take 0 fruit snacks out of here? Because 0's nothing. And I see the puzzled looks on their faces, and I'm like, good. They're thinking. They're getting it already, and they don't realize that they're just confused. I said, well, how many is 0? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, so how many are you going to take away? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, yeah. It's like if I gave you 5 cookies, and I didn't take any away from you. I took 0 away from you. How many do you still have? And they're like, 5? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh. I think they have a tendency to just assume that whatever it is we're doing in math is going to be difficult and confusing and hard. And it sometimes is, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just totally common sense and it makes sense to them if they realize that it's that easy. It's when they think that it must be harder than that and they don't get it. This is too easy. I must be wrong. It can't be this easy. Well, yeah, it actually can be that easy. Sometimes it is that easy. So I'm kind of assuming, I'm extrapolating from that information that I saw that since they were able to add 0 with no trouble, that I think they'll be able to subtract 0 with no trouble. I really don't think that's going to be an issue. So we'll see how it goes. If we end up having trouble, I'll just do some more of that the next time. But I feel like I can throw that into, I think that's lesson 2.7 or something. It's either 2.7 or 2.8 because there are 9 lessons in chapter 2. And we're on 5. We're starting 5 tomorrow. I believe that's right. Yeah. And I really don't want to double up on any of the other ones. Like I can throw that one in with either the lesson before it or the lesson after it. Like I'll put those 2 together. But I don't want to do that with any of the other things. I don't want to combine any other 2 lessons together is what I'm trying to say because the concepts are a little more difficult. And I want extra time to work on things. Since today's lesson wasn't super, super long, we tore out our pages and that took like 10 minutes. Not kidding, 10 minutes. But that was a lot of pages. It was a lot of pages to tear out. And then we played a math game and I can grab it real fast. Okay, so I think that this unit that I got, it's a roll and color set for the whole year. I think it was meant for kindergarten, but since I have a Mac and I've learned how to screenshot things, I screenshot the page because I paid for the resource. So I feel like I can modify it for my class. I would never presume to like do that and sell it or anything because that would be stealing and a copyright issue. But for my class, I figured I could modify it if I wanted to. So I screenshot it and I put text boxes over the numbers that were on the original one and whited them out. And then I added my numbers that I wanted. And I also whited out with a big text box the directions so I could change them to make it fit my lesson. So originally, this was a roll, subtract, and color with apples. And she's this lady that made this. I'll have to find. It's the Kindergarten Connection on TpT. If you'd like to find this unit, the Kindergarten Connection. She had just, you would roll 2 dice, which only go to 6. And you'd subtract the smaller number from the larger number. So the biggest number that you're going to get is a 5. So she had numbers 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 on here, you know, for kindergarten math, which makes sense because they're subtracting from 5. Well, we're subtracting from 10. And so what I did was I changed the directions. It used to say roll 2 dice, subtract the smaller number from the larger number, color in your answer. I changed it to roll the die, so I had the dice cup, subtract that number from 10, and color in the answer. And then with the matching difference. Because we've been using all those math terms. Difference, subtract, minus, take away, fewer, greater than, smaller, whatever. So I changed my numbers so that whatever, like 10 minus whatever you could roll on a 6-sided die, these were the answers that you could possibly get. And so then they could use their number line to hop back to figure out what the answer was. And then they colored them in. Now before they started, I gave them all their supplies and I said, I need you to get out apple colored crayons. So we're talking green, yellow, red, and pink. And they're like, pink? I've never seen a pink apple. And I said, oh, there are pink lady apples. And the reason I threw the apple stuff in today is because it's Johnny Appleseed's birthday. And I totally spaced it out when I was doing my lesson plans last week in a big flurry. And I was so proud of myself. And then I realized I totally blew that and didn't do anything with Johnny Appleseed. Crud. And that's one of our Missouri learning objectives for social studies is to learn about non-Missourians and Missourians in history, and Johnny Appleseed is a major figure in, you know, elementary land. And I don't know what I was thinking. We usually do this huge, big blowout apple tasting Johnny Appleseed extravaganza or appleganza, and I just totally didn't do it. Normally we'll do like, we'll take Apple Jacks, which thankfully somebody already brought some, and we graph them, and then we can use a lot of our math skills like tallying, adding up, fewer and more. That will tie into our lessons that are going on right now, which will be perfect. So I'm going to throw that into tomorrow's lesson. I told them that we would do an apple snack tomorrow, and they're like, okay. And for that, they don't need a ton. They just need a little handful. So that should be enough. I may run to the store and get like the malto meal version because it comes in the big bag, and they're called apple O's or something, and they're like orange and green O's, and I think they might be no, they're the same color as these. Yeah, they're the same color, but they're less expensive than the actual Apple Jacks brand, and the kids don't care. They taste fine, so they're not gonna care. But yeah, so, and I did the addition version of this game with my intervention group. Since we're working on addition strategies, I'm having them use those strategies now to add. So they played this game after I did the tally mark thing. We had just enough time to do about half of the game, and that's just kind of how interventions go. We're always getting interrupted. I told them, I'm like, man, they always interrupt our fun. And they're like, yeah, we were having fun. I'm like, well, we'll just have to have fun tomorrow too. They're like, okay. And as they're leaving, I always give them a math 5, or today I gave them a fist bump. I'm going to give you a fist 5. And sometimes they put their school box up. They're like, give me a box 5. And I'm like, okay, fine. See ya. And when my kiddos are leaving for their Power Hour math intervention group, I always go, grow your brain as they're walking by. Grow your brain, learn something new, do some math stuff, have fun. And so I'm just silly because I'm trying to pump them up for it, because some of them are kind of like, because it's almost first thing in the morning. It's 8:15 when they head out. So they've only been in the room for like, some of them like 10 minutes because they came for breakfast late. So I hear something in the hallway. I'm over in a different recording spot because I was feeling very self-conscious over where the people could see me in the door, which is that way. So I'm over in the corner. If you can, I'm like the opposite. I used to be like over there by the table, and now I'm on the other side of the room by the calendar. Anyway, I thought this would be a more private spot to vlog. So I'll probably do my vlogging from over here because it's kind of weird. And then somebody comes to the door. It's not like I'm talking to myself. Yeah. Even though they kind of know that I do this, but you know, whatever. I'll put this down. Okay, since I didn't talk to you this morning, I didn't show you my fabulous outfit of the day. The hat is because it's homecoming week and it's hat day. And I was so excited because I didn't have to do my Careza hair. So it's not looking too spiffy in the back, but the front's okay. And I kind of did extra eye makeup just because I wouldn't really have much hair to work with, because I thought I looked kind of weird without a lot of makeup. So I did do my normal makeup today, so I've got my eyeliner on and everything. Hopefully I don't look so dead today. I think I slept a little better last night. I noticed yesterday when I was watching back the footage, I had like dry skin or something on my lips. So, ew, I'm sorry about that. And I thought I could just reshoot that. I'm like, no, I can't. I can go back and reshoot that. And the camera had like shut off a couple times on me, and I'd already reshot what I did do a couple times because for some reason I must have I thought I pushed record and I actually shut it off. I must have double tapped it or something. I don't know. Oh. There's my alarm to heat my lunch, but I don't have to heat my salad, so I've got a little extra time to play with. Yay. Let me go shut that off, and I'll come right back. Back to outfit. So, homecoming week, today's hat day. That's the hat. It's got a little pocket. I don't know if this is the same hat I wore for the Army boot camp or not, because I asked my daughter, I said, is this your hat? And she's like, no, that's the one you got from Army boot camp. And I'm like, if you say so, for the ABC boot camp. I'm like, I don't think so. I think my hat's different, but whatever. It was a hat. I put it on. It was good. So I've got just this like different colored metal necklace because it's not super fancy. I thought it went with my little kind of like army green colored shirt. And then I've got my pineapple bracelets, one from my little lovely girl and one from my husband, from Alex and Annie. And I've got this just different kind of metal butterflies that are stacked on top of each other. This came from Maurice's like probably 6 years ago now. I've got these little just kind of a gunmetal colored dangly earrings from Maurice's. Let me back up. This is just a t-shirt from Old Navy. I've worn it before. I wore it for boot camp. And then I've just got some capris that have the cargo things. And then here are my shoes, which I've worn these once before. They're just little shoes that came from Maurice's. And I noticed that it's got like a little goofed up spot on them. So, I don't know. I've had them for a while, so I guess I'm not too upset about it. But don't you hate it when you like have beads on your shoes and they go wonky on you? Anyways, that's my fabulous Tuesday outfit. Tomorrow I think is wear bright colors. So I'm going to bring out all my like neons because I have like lime green and hot pink and like neon orange and yellow and stuff. So I'm going to layer myself up. Today is supposed to be 80 something. Tomorrow's supposed to be like 75 or 74, something a lot cooler. So layering up won't suffocate me, which would be good. This afternoon I was going to do community helpers, but we're going to do Johnny Appleseed because technically he could be considered a community helper, sort of. But yeah, I don't think we're going to need to spend 2 days on community helpers, even with the test. So I'm not going to worry about that so much. So I switched gears. I reprinted my second page of my lesson plans for probably the 4th time now. Because I could just write it on there, but that drives me crazy. I can't handle just scribbling something on my beautiful printed out plans. Yeah, I know, it's a waste of paper. I'm sorry. I sometimes print it out at home, sometimes print it out here. So sometimes it's my paper, sometimes it's school paper. It averages out. But I can't do it. Visually, it just drives me bananas. I'm a very structured person, and I just can't. I can't, and that's just me. And I'm trying to deal with it, so it's more work on my part too. Sorry, I'm paranoid about the time now. I don't want to be late picking my kids up for lunch. But they're right by the library, which will be handy dandy because it's just a little ways walk to go to the cafeteria. We just go down this little hallway, turn the corner, and there's the cafeteria, and then I'll take my lunch. I think I'll eat with people today just because they're starting to feel like I must not like them anymore. No, actually, I'm enjoying getting things done in the peace and quiet. But I do need to get out of my room sometimes, so yeah. I think I have a plan for unloading these boxes over here. You see them, if I can point to them. There. All those boxes there, my 10 literacy boxes for the LLI kit. I have a plan. I talked to one of my co-teachers and I said, how long do you think it's going to take me? Do you think I can get it done during counseling time? She's like, oh yeah, I think you can get it done because that's 30 minutes. And the counselor comes to my room, so hopefully the kids will be facing this way and I'll be over there behind them. And hopefully I'm not a big distraction because I honestly don't know when I don't know when else I'm going to do it unless I just jump in and do it. So I switched counseling days with my partner across the way because she has a track meet. So I would have had it today, but I have it tomorrow, which is fine because then we can do Johnny Appleseed stuff. Yay. So I think Johnny Appleseed today and a Kahoot about Johnny Appleseed and apples in general to see what they know about them. And then tomorrow's plan while they're having counseling is to unpack my LLI kit and try to get some books arranged so I can start using them and at least getting my brain wrapped around how to use it. So I'm going to go. I'm going to grab my lunch. I'm going to grab the germ juice and I'm going to get myself upstairs to get my kiddos and zing them to lunch and zing myself to lunch. And I'll talk to you later. Hi there. It's after school. All my kiddos have dispersed. It's almost time for the late bus kids to leave already because it's about 3:30. I've been running around doing stuff and really not feeling accomplished much. Just kind of how it goes sometimes. I don't even think I've changed all my calendars. No, I haven't, so I need to do that before I leave. I did change the desk people up there, and I changed this calendar, and I changed the one on my desk, but I didn't change the ones over there. And I need to change the center wheel. Yeah, just little things. I've turned all my lights off that need to be turned off except for the main one. And I feel like aliens descended upon our school roof, dropped a whole bunch of crazy dust all over our building, and left. Because it was a weird day. During math intervention group, I have one student from my partner teacher's room that just sometimes is just a little much to take. And he is not always cooperative and very defiant. And honestly, when you have a class for like 20 minutes tops and you're trying to intervene with them and trying to, reteach them something they're having trouble with, you just don't have time to deal with behavior. There's no time for that. And he's one of those kiddos that, sorry, I feel like I have something in my eye. He's one of those kids that just won't stop. Like he gets this idea in his head and he's just going to run with it. And so I had to take him back over to her room and, I'm so sorry. We're having trouble listening. We're not following directions. And, it's disrupting our whole class. And so he had to go back to her room and just sit while she was teaching her intervention group, which I felt bad. But that was my only option. I mean, he wasn't going to let anyone else learn. And that's what they're here for. That's why they're here in my room, to learn that skill. So, I don't know. I feel like we need to have parameters for that kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Intervention time is kind of a special, very quick time that you have the kids, and you're trying to get some skills in them that they didn't have from regular math. And if we're going to have some kind of whirling dervish in our classroom disrupting everything, then there's no point in doing it at all. So, and sometimes there are students that have behavior problems, and you can kind of push them to the side, like have them sit apart from the group, and they can still get the lesson. They can still do the activity because they're away from the others, and they can work that way. Like my students are like that. I have a couple that just kind of get, bleh, and I just move them away from the other kids, and they're okay that way. He is not one of those students. He is one that will just go, bleh, just to make noise, to get attention, to interrupt, to disrupt, to do everything. I've tried to set him outside the door. Out the door, he'll peek his head in the classroom and start yelling just random things. And I'm and you do the ignoring thing, and he just doesn't quit. He's relentless. And so I just realized it wasn't going to work. He wasn't following directions, so we had to go. I couldn't spend any more time messing with it. I was neglecting the rest of the group. And so he had to zing to his own classroom, and unfortunately didn't get any more of the math lesson from me. But he wasn't going to learn anything anyway, the way he was behaving. And I thought it's not fair to make everyone suffer for that. So had to send him over. That's the second time in the last 6 days that's happened. Sad. Did hear that he was moving. I hope that's a good change for him and not another turmoil for him that will make things worse. So you never know. Sometimes being moved from one home to another is the solution, or it adds to the already enormous problems that are there. So I hope it's a good change for him and not just a compounding of whatever's going on. On a happier note, now that's over. I feel like there's something in my eye. My goodness. The kids really enjoyed Hat Day. That was fun. We did have a little issue with playing with the hats, and our assistant principal, because the superintendent doesn't tell us stuff about hats, over the intercom after the pledge today, during announcements, reminded everyone that it's awesome to have a hat, and we're really glad that you participated in Spirit Day, but hats are for wearing, not for throwing, not for playing with, not for hitting people with, yada yada. So you need to keep it on your head, and if you can't keep it on your head, it needs to go in your backpack. And so I reminded some of my friends, remember, your choices are on your head or in your backpack. I'm happy for you to wear your hat. I'm wearing a hat. But here's what I'm not doing. I'm not taking it off, flipping it around, and I'm not whacking people with it. I'm not throwing it in the air. So the first time I saw that, I said, it needs to go in your backpack. And they're like, oh, I'm like, and they started to put it on. I'm like, sorry, you already made your choice when you decided to do that with it. When you've already been told. Sorry, maybe we'll try again later. And so whenever we would leave the room for a different activity like lunch or specials or recess or whatever, I told them, I said, you can choose to leave your hat here if you want to and put it back on when we come back. That is perfectly fine. When we had a restroom break, I said, if you want to leave your hat here and put it on later, that's perfectly fine. Like, I'm so sorry. Ugh. It's like a hair was hanging right by my eyelashes, and every time I blinked, it would flicker. Ugh. So, yeah, I'm okay. Apparently, I'm having sensory issues today. Nah. So, kids are getting ready to leave. I can hear them in the hallway. That's good. But they can't see me because I picked my little hidey hole to vlog from. My daughter will be here very soon, so I need to pack my stuff up so she's not waiting for me extra in the parking lot upstairs. But I don't remember what I was saying. It's been a long week, and it's only Tuesday. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. It's so strange. The counselor had a really rough time because she had the class with my little intervention kid in it at the end of the day because my partner teacher had a track meet to go to, so she left early, and she had my counseling time. Well, the counselor said that he was quite a deal in there too, so that was rough for her. It was a rough way to end the day when you have a squirrely kid like that just won't settle down and won't conform and won't just be kind and behave like for 5 minutes. I feel like Shrek. Donkey, could you not be yourself for 5 minutes, please? You know, like that. There are times where I want to reference that, but I'm like, I don't. Sarcasm comes across as kind of mean to kids, and you don't want to do that. So I try not to use sarcasm because it's above their developmental level, most of them, and they don't understand the humor. They don't get that it's supposed to be funny. It's just hurtful to them. So I try not to do sarcasm, even though that's kind of how we roll at my house. We're sarcastic as heck with everyone at our house. But yeah, so it's hard to turn that off. But I try to remember they're 6. They don't get sarcasm. They don't, some of them start getting it by the end of the year. Some of my higher kids, they're like, oh, that's funny, that's funny. And they get puns, which is great. I love puns. So yeah, but you have to remember that when you say something, you know, that's sarcastic, they don't understand that that's supposed to be another form of humor, and it just comes out as hurtful. So yeah, have to watch that a little bit, and watch how you use your tone, and watch the words that you say, because you never know where they're coming from their life. So I always try to think about that. I don't always succeed, to be honest. Sometimes I get a little frustrated, and my little frustration shows in my voice, like I did yesterday. I just told the kids flat out, I said, friends, you're frustrating me quite a bit, because several of you are not listening, and it's not okay. It's really not okay, and you got to stop. That's just the end of it. There's no choice. There's no discussion. You got to stop. Or some of you are going to spend a lot of recess time practicing, because it's not showing that you know what to do. So that's where I left it. I had to have a conversation with one of my girls today because of strange lunchroom behavior. Apparently she was howling like a wolf at lunchtime, and I had to sit at the back table, which is like the punishment table. And I just kind of, when you go to pick up your class, and they're, all right, the bus riders are now leaving. When one of the lunchroom ladies comes up to you and says, I had to sit your kid back at the back table because they were howling at lunch. You're just kind of like, oh, okay, that's weird. And you go, note to self, talk to child about why and what made them think they could howl at lunch and what was going on with that. So I pulled her aside later and I said, what happened at lunch today? And she's like, oh, well, I was talking to so-and-so in our class, and I was telling her about being a wolf, and I started howling like a wolf. And I went, you were howling at lunch? And she goes, yeah. I went, oh. Is that what got you in trouble? Yeah. I said, well, did someone ask you to stop? Uh-huh. And did you stop? Yeah. And I thought, okay. And then what happened? And she said, well, I did it again, but quieter. I went, oh. So did Miss blah, blah, blah come over and ask you to please stop howling? And then you did it again? Yeah. I said, oh. Do you think that's what the problem was? That she had already asked you to stop and you didn't stop? Well, I did it quieter. I said, but is quieter stopping, friend? No. I said, yeah. Do you think we should be howling inside at lunch? No. So where do you think would be, if you needed to howl, where do you think would be a good place to do that? At recess? Yeah, that would be a great place to howl because you're outside. Outside really doesn't have much of a voice level, unless you're in someone's ear, obviously. But, you know, you can yell at recess and it's okay because it's outside. It's not going to bother people's learning, right? Yeah. I said, okay, so what are you going to do next time we go to lunch? Not howl. I said, that's good. And what if you oops and you do something you're not supposed to do, and Miss blah, blah, blah comes in and says, please don't do that. What are you going to do then? I won't do it again. Oh, that's great. I appreciate that. Okay, so I think what we probably ought to do, don't you think this would be a really good idea, to write her an apology letter, saying that you're sorry for what you did and you won't do it anymore, and give it to her at lunch tomorrow? Yeah, I said, okay, let's go get you a letter writing paper, and I'll write down the words, because it's kind of tricky when you're in first grade to write a big letter. So I gave her our letter writing form. It's a friendly letter form, and it's the same format as our birthday pages, so she kind of knew how to do it anyway. But I just wrote one out for her just to make it easier. I said, why don't you take this out to recess with you with a clipboard and a pencil? I had to go grab that. I wrote out her apology with everything and the date and all that stuff. And I said, tomorrow when we go to lunch, you can take that with you and you can give it to her and you can tell her what it says. Okay. I said, do you think that might make her feel better? Yeah, probably. I said, yeah, let's try that and see what happens. I said, because she's not mean. She's not a mean lady. But, you know, if people are screaming and howling at lunch, she can't let that go on. That's not going to be okay. And she understood that. And this little girl does all kinds of wackadoo off the wall stuff just randomly. She's very impulsive. So we're having lots of conversations, she and I, about what happened. Why did you think that would be a good choice? Why is that not a good choice? What are you going to do next time about it? And how are we going to fix what you did? So lots of reflecting on her behavior choices. Yeah, so that was fun. And I had a couple of conversations with her and another boy that were apparently hitting and kicking each other for whatever reason, for no reason at all. Because the boy said, oh, because so-and-so told me to do it. I went, remember our conversation about how that's not going to get you out of trouble if you tell me that someone told you to do it, because we have our own brains and we can make our own better choices? Yeah, I said. So Really didn't help to throw someone else under the bus with you. You're just going to both get squashed, right? Yeah. Okay, so we had the whole conversation of, you know, what should we do next time, blah, 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 blah. Blech. It's a lot of the same kind of thing in first grade. A lot of the same kind of talking it over, kind of making them reflect on their behavior, kind of trying to get their head wrapped around why we don't do that. If they can tell you why and they can see why, maybe they'll be less likely to do it again or not, depending on the kid. So I try to come out the behavior problems like that, unless it's just blatant mean. Like, these kids weren't actually really being mean. They were just making bad choices, honestly. I have had mean kids in the past, and it's really hard to keep your cool when one kid's just being blatantly mean to another kid for no reason. Like, they just go after them like an animal. And I'm like, whoa, stop. Yeah. So, yeah. We discussed Johnny Appleseed this afternoon, and we did 2 Kahoots about Johnny Appleseed, and there's lots of them on there. So just check them out if you want to. Kahoot.com, Kahoot.com. If you're ever interested in trying it, it's free. And my first graders love it. And it does not take much to teach them how to poke in the quiz code and then put their name in, and they're ready to go. And you can even set it on the little screen that it will keep the code on the screen. So if something happens with your technology and they get knocked off their iPad, they can go back in and put the code back in. They can still keep playing with you. They just might miss a question or two because they're not in yet. So it is time to go. Yay. Tomorrow is Wear Bright Colors Day. So I'm going to raid my closet and see what kind of weird concoction I can come up with for tomorrow. It's also a staff meeting day. I hope it's not a super long one. Our administrators tend to get a little chatty when we're all sitting there going, as we're fading, because we've been with kids all day. Not saying that their day is any less exhausting. I'm sure it is exhausting. But it's a different type of exhaustion. You know what I'm saying. Yeah, so let me run around and grab the stuff that I need to put away real fast and turn off and switch and blah, blah, blah. Because I'll forget in the morning because it's not my normal morning routine. My daughter's probably in the parking lot waiting for me, and I will talk to you later. It is Wednesday, September 27th, and it's morning. I just got here and got my things put away and got the lights turned on and things like that. Made sure the calendar was switched and all that stuff. I think I've got everything ready. I'll check and make sure before the kids come. Today's neon day and we're bright colors, and so I was going to wear something completely different, and then I changed my mind last second, and so here's what I came up with. I've worn this before. It's that chevron tank dress. I've worn it before. It just goes to my ankle, and then I just have my pineapple bracelets and this little silver thing and my different metal earrings. And some bright lipstick. That's my attempt at neon today. Yeah, it's Wednesday, hump day. Whew. Shout out to my girl Elizabeth Corbett. So glad that things turned out well with your health. I'm just beyond happy for you. So brought tears to my eyes in the car when I read your comment. So yay. Really, really, really excited. Prayer works. Don't ever stop praying, friends. It works. That was a good thing. Oh, I want to show you something. Let me turn this around. Check out my Super Improvers wall. Look at all the stickers the kids are earning. I've got a few that are just about to fill their card. And my friend Blake here totally rocked it and got his next card. And I made a brag tag. I just like screenshot this and shrunk it to make brag tags for this. I need to go up all the way, but here are all the levels. I think there are 10. Yeah, there are 10. This is from one fab teacher, Miss May, and she suggests that you kind of pace yourself through the year because you don't want them to move too fast, but you don't want them to move too slow and get discouraged. So I've got one friend that's moved from beginner to learner. Woohoo! And I made a big deal out of presenting him with his beginner card. I said, "Oh, my friend Blake, I gotta praise you here." And I put his new card up and I gave him his card to take home to show his parents, and then he got his brag tag to put on his necklace. He said, "Can I put that on my necklace right now?" And I said, "Yeah, go put it on there right now, man." And he had a little trouble, so he brought me his necklace, so I stuck it on there. So he's set for Friday to wear it. Yay. I gotta get that wrapped around my mind that on Fridays we wear our brag tags. Fridays, brag tags, Fridays, brag tags. And a lot of times the kids will remind me, but sometimes we just get so caught up in what we're doing that they forget to, and then I'm like, "Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot to tell you could wear those." And that's a bummer because that's the only day we do it, because it's just the best day to do it because it's more relaxed. We don't have as much movement going on. There's no math intervention time on Fridays, so they're not having to get in the room, do a little bit of stuff, and then leave again. Today we forgot, not today, Yesterday they had library, and I totally forgot to go get their library books after lunch because it's hard to remember to do something after lunch when normally you just go downstairs and start the rest of your day. So I wrote it on the board, get library books. So we're going to do that right when they come back from power hour, math intervention time. I said, guys, help me remember, okay? Because we got to go get those. So there's a little hallway over by the library that they don't really use for anything. It's like a pass-through, but nobody really uses it. So the librarian has the students just line their books up along that hallway, and it's inside. It's inside the library. So nobody can get to the books. The door is locked. So you send your terrific kid into the library, and they come through the library to go through that little hallway to open the door to let all the rest of the students in to get their books. Then we'll just line up and go back downstairs and take our restroom and drink break, and then life is normal. We have counseling today. Yes, I'm so excited. Yes. So I'm going to try to unpack those are out there, those boxes. I want to get into those and look at them, but I don't want to just look through it for 2 minutes and then have to put it back. So I want to get into those. I want to unpack them. I want to move stuff around, and hopefully I won't be a big distraction to my class because they'll be faced this way and I'll be faced that way. So hopefully I'll be behind them. Like I said yesterday, it's my plan. You know, sometimes plans don't work. Let's see what time it is. Okay, I've got about 8 minutes before the kid. No. Yeah, I got about 8 minutes before the kids come. Per the conversation yesterday with all the first grade teachers, randomly, we decided that we are not ready to group kids for subtraction for next week. So we're going to do one more week of the same group that we have for interventions, but we're going to work on the strategy of using doubles. So we're going to teach them the doubles wrap that we learned from Saxon math years ago. I still have the poster. And if you want a doubles wrap to do with your doubles addition, go search it on Pinterest because there are tons of little printable posters that you can get for free. And the words aren't exactly the same, but they're close, and it doesn't really matter. It's just a way for them to remember. It's a sing-songy rhyme for them to remember the answers. So ours goes, it's the doubles, baby, let's go, it's the doubles, baby, and we start with 0. 0 plus 0 equals 0. Oh, 1 plus 1 equals 2. Ooh, and it goes on and on. I'm not going to do the whole thing for you, but that's the gist of it. We go to 5 plus 5 equals 10 again, and we stop. We just cut it in half because it does go to 20. 10 plus 10 equals 20, that's plenty. I go to 5, and we do that for a couple days until we get that really learned, and then I add on the 6 through 10. So it'll be good. Then I have some games we can do with that and some activities we can do with that, and hopefully it'll be really super fun for the kids. It's only going to be another 4 days, so it won't be bad. Oh, my nails kind of match my dress today. I don't know if you can see that, but see the chevron? I'll give you a close-up of the nail. Nails. Dress. Okay. Sorry. My brain is kind of randomly firing right now. Sorry. Wackadoo. Tonight for supper. Oh, I cannot wait to eat this. So it was in my freezer meal prep vlog that I did over the summer. One of the bagged freezer meals that I made, the Hawaiian meatballs, we are having that tonight. I will try to remember to video that for you so you can see how they turn out. I just pulled the bag out of the freezer last night, stuck it in the upstairs freezer because since I have a staff meeting after school, I will be getting home later than normal, which really doesn't matter because we don't eat till my husband gets home around 6 anyway. So I need my crock pot to not be cooking it completely through until about the time we're ready to eat it so it doesn't burn. So I left it frozen. You can thaw it out overnight and it will cook faster, but I wanted it to cook slower. So on the directions on the bag, I think it said cook on low for 6 to 8 hours or 4 to 6 hours. I can't remember which. One of the two. Anyway, it's going to cook for 10 probably because I stuck it in right before I left around 7 today. And so, yeah, that's going to be about 11 hours. It'll be in the crock pot. And it should be perfect. Now, it is meatballs with the pineapple stuff. But I already told my daughter, I said, we're having Hawaiian meatballs for supper. But you have that orange chicken that's not really chicken. It's like chicken-ish. Tastes like chicken, I guess. It's a vegetarian product. And I said, we can cook some of those and throw that in with the sauce stuff and the rice, and it'll be really good. And she's like, oh, that sounds good. Yeah. So I always try to have, another, an alternative thing for her to eat with the meal that I'm already making, because I'm not going to cook 2 meals. It's just not feasible. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not cooking 2 meals. It's hard enough to do one. So I just try to have an alternative for her to add to what what my husband and I eat, the meat part, I try to find a substitute thing for her meat part. So that will work out great for that. I'll tell you how it tastes. I've never made this meal before, so it's a new one. It looked really, really good. And I think that may have come from Jennifer at the Family Fudge, probably. I got a lot of freezer meals from her. I also get a lot of freezer meals from the Six Sisters, and they're on YouTube, and they have a website, and they have tons of cookbooks, and their meals are for real people with real families and real children. And so their recipes are really, really good. The Six Sisters stuff is where I got that skillet lasagna recipe that I kind of tweaked for our family. It was really super good. And the ladies, the sisters, are very sweet, wonderful women. So if you're not subscribed to their channel, you might want to. They just put out little quick how to make their meal videos. It's really easy and fast, and they're like under 10 minutes. And it just kind of shows you how to make it real fast. And then if you want to do it, you can get the recipe for it from their website and then make it for yourself. So it's really good. Today's day is going to be just normal pretty much, except for counseling this afternoon. I'm so excited. Yes, because that's a 30-minute time that I do not have my children. They're not my responsibility, but they're still learning good stuff. And I can work on my LLI kits over there in the 10 boxes and figure out where to put all that stuff. It is really hard when you've already put your room together for the year and then you get all of this stuff that you have to figure out where to put, because everything already has a place. All the places are taken up. So then you have to be really creative. Like I already have a place for the actual books, because they're going to go, let's see if I can move you. They're going to go over in those out there. That's why I got that. But I did not know that we were going to have journals and writing notebook things too, which is super cool. And I may not use them this year just because we've already gotten established in our routines of stuff like that. So I'm not sure if I'm going to throw those in or not. I'll have to look at them and see. From what I've heard, this is an intervention kit, and the reason they got the intervention kit is because you get more stuff with it. So it was more economical for us to get more things. But I think the journals are blank, like just like blank. So my kids are not really needing that. They need lines to write on. So I'll probably just stick with the writing paper that I've made in my writing unit. So that'll probably be something I will figure out how to use sometime, because I don't want to just waste it, but I may just save it back for next year or for later in the year. I like to bring new things out in January because it's a physical new year. The kids have been gone on Christmas break for a couple weeks at that point, and we can start fresh. It's a great time to put new things in and make things exciting all over again. And it kind of just, it pumps you up for the rest of the year. And January is so wah-wah because there are no major cool holidays except for New Year. We do celebrate Martin Luther King Day, and that's good. But it's not like it's not Christmas. Everything after Christmas is kind of a letdown, except for Easter. They love Easter. So I always try to throw in more fun things in January. Oh, I've got like 2 minutes. I better get off of here and talk to you later. Bye. Good morning. Yes, I'm wearing a banana hat because what's a minion without a banana? So today is dress in your favorite character attire, and I wish I would have thought about having my minion pajama pants, because that totally would have worked with this too. But here's what I'm wearing. It's my minion shirt from Universal Studios, yes, and just some black capris and black boring flip-flops. And then I've got like a yellow ring and yellow hoops, and then my normal bracelets. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought we'd just go bananas today. Happy Thursday. Woo, which is one day closer to Friday. Woo, I'm excited. It's homecoming week still. Tomorrow's homecoming game. Don't know if I'm going to go. Probably not. Because I'm just pooped, and I'll be even more pooped then. Today is our last day of addition intervention group. Technically, we're going to give them their test today and see how they did. And then next week, we're going to just kind of cruise through the 4 days of intervention time by teaching them doubles. So the doubles wrap, and then doubles, using the doubles to add. That'll be coming up in chapter 3, but it's okay because we're doing numbers to 10 right now, and that'll be numbers to 20. So it'll be fine. Wouldn't hurt for them to be exposed again. And plus, we're going to do things that Go Math doesn't do. Like the doubles wrap is not something Go Math does. So that'll be a good thing for them to learn. Plus, I have a little book I'm going to print out and some other stuff. I did not get to vlog anymore yesterday after my initial vlog because during plan time, I needed to talk to a parent about their child. and then make a plan for him. And then it was lunch, and then it was reading and all the other stuff that we were doing. And during counseling time, of course, I couldn't vlog because she was in my room. During recess time, I had to talk with some of my students about behaviors, and that took up most of my time. There just wasn't any time. And then after school, I went and talked to the reading teacher about a student who's having trouble and tried to get some ideas from her. And then we had a meeting after school, and it went late. And then I just left with my daughter because she was waiting for me with her boyfriend. He came over last night. I was going to tell you about the Hawaiian meatballs. They were okay. They would have been better if they hadn't cooked as long. Since my meeting ran late, my supper cooked longer than it should have, and it was a little too done. I mean, it wasn't burnt necessarily, but since it had a sugar base, it was a little, some of it was a little scorched, which I did not scoop that part out of the crock pot. But I'm not sure we really liked all the flavors in the recipe. I'm not sure. I may try it again and just cook it when I'm home the whole time so I can cook it and watch it, see how it does. But tonight we're going to have cheese manicotti, which I made 2 pans of in the summer, and that's on the vlog too. And we're going to have that today. So I pulled it out of the freezer and stuck it in the fridge so it can thaw all day, and then I'll just bake it in the oven to heat it. Because it's already been baked once. It just needs to be heated through. And then I might do some breadsticks or garlic toast or something with it, and probably some salad for my daughter and me, and some green beans for my husband. We haven't had green beans for a while, so that'll be a quick thing to put together after school. I do have a meeting after school again for the attendance committee, but that is only until it's only until 4:15, so it's only half an hour after our scheduled time to leave, so I won't get home super late. I'll be home before 5, which will be good. So it won't be a big deal to assemble supper things. And we're supposed to lose our iPad cart today. Just all of a sudden. We were expecting to keep it till November because they're giving us 8 new classroom iPads. So they're going to take the old 5, I guess. I have 5 now. They're going to replace them with 8 brand new ones. But the thing is, we have to assign 3 students to each iPad because they're going to have to log in to use it. Well, then I have to really think about who needs to be on which iPad because I want them to be able to use their iPad on their day. So I need to go do that because we're supposed to do that on our plan time today, which is when they're coming. They're supposed to have it written. We are supposed to have in writing who we want on each iPad for when they come today during our plan time. And we found out about this last night. Yeah. When was I supposed to do this exactly? So I'm going to have to go do that right now. So I'm going to cut this short and I'll talk to you later. Hi there. Made it to the end of the day. Didn't have any time to vlog during plan time because we're getting ready for family fun night, which is actually 2 nights, Tuesday and Thursday next week. And I was helping one of the other teachers kind of get things squared away. And then we chatted about math and some other things. And then I was talking about how we need to get our iPads laid out, how we wanted the kids to be assigned to them. And she said, I thought that was next week. And I said, I was under the impression it was today. And it was today. It's supposed to be during our plan time, but it's taking a lot longer for them to rotate through the classroom, so it'll probably be tomorrow or next week. The good thing is they're not going to take the ones we have right now right away, so we can still use them while they're messing with the other ones. I've already grouped my kids. I've even put their number, whatever iPad they're going to have, next to their name on their center rotation board, so if they forget, they can look up there. I made sure, triple checked, that the people in the same group didn't have the same iPad. That way they could, work on it. At the same time. Sorry, I thought I heard a noise. I get paranoid. You know, if you vlog at school in your classroom, you totally understand what I'm talking about. You're always worried somebody's going to come to the door and need you for something in the middle of whatever. Today went pretty well. I gave the addition assessment to see if my intervention group could test out of the group, and all but 2 passed with flying colors, so that was good. 1 student was gone, so I'm going to test her next week when she comes, and we're going to do doubles strategies. So I'm printing out the doubles wrap for them, plus the other group that's doing the same thing as me, that's the speech teachers group. I'm going to print my things twice so she can have some for, it's my class that she has basically almost all of them, 13 of them out of 20. So she'll have the same activities I have. I've got this cool doubles facts mini book, but it only goes to 7 plus 7, which is okay because they're going to learn the rest of it later. We'll go ahead and teach them the whole wrap, and then they can just do that book, and that'll be fine. Then I've also got this doubles aren't any trouble, or doubles aren't trouble roll and color game. And you can play it like a bingo type thing where they have to get so many in a row, or you can do blackout. I like to do blackout because it takes them longer and they get more practice adding. All you need is one number cube because they double it. Like if you roll a 5, you do 5 plus 5. Do a 6, you do 6 plus 6. So that gives them practice in that. And I have plenty of cubes. I ordered a whole bunch with my purchase order this year. I got a whole container of the dot cubes and I got a whole container of the number cubes. And I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't grab a number cube and a dot cube when I was teaching counting on, because that's the best way to do it. They take the number and they count on the dots so they can remember how to do it. And then you can transition, then you can transition to just 2 number cubes instead of a number cube and a dot cube. So I can still do that. I can still do that. My tongue is not working. I can still do that with my intervention groups and with my kiddos that are having trouble. I was pretty impressed with the math test today with the intervention group because I told them that on their test they could use any strategy that worked for them to add the numbers together, but all I needed to see was the answer. So if they didn't need to write anything down or draw anything or use tally marks or whatever, they didn't have to, but they were welcome to because there was a box for each question. Let me see if I think I have some right here. I should have one in my stack of peppers, so I'll tell. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Goodness. In my pile. Okay, here was our test. One of our first grade teachers made it up. And so they had the vertical addition and the horizontal addition. So they saw it both ways. And I made sure to remind them, remember when it's vertical, this is the equal sign. You put your answer underneath. They did pretty good with that. Some of them still wrote it a little over here. So remember to put it down here. That's why I had them write it like that on that tally mark game thing. But they did pretty well. Most of them got 80 or 90 or 100%. A couple of them got 50%. I think maybe they got in a hurry and just kind of scribbled through it. So they may just need to slow down a little bit. But all in all, pretty good. So that was nice. And I'm getting my data compiled for the teachers. I'm having to look through the Google Doc to see which kids went with which teacher so that I can make sure I get the data to them so they know where their kids will be. And finding the doubles wrap to print out from Pinterest. So that'll be good. I think the version that I have on the big chart that I've kept forever from Saxon Math, from the teacher materials, it's like huge. It's like wall size. I have that up on my door. I just have to take the hundreds chart, 120 chart off the front of it so they can see it and reference it. But I'll teach them that, and then I'll give them their own so they can have it to practice. And then we'll also do that doubles book, and I've got that doubles game. And I only have them for 4 days, so that'll probably be enough. I also think I have another doubles game that we could play. I'm sure I do. I've got tons of math games, some I've made and some that I've purchased and some that I found for free. They are very abundant on Pinterest, so if you're ever needing an activity, check on Pinterest first because you can find a lot of free things on there. A lot of them come from Teachers Pay Teachers, but they're free resources. I do a lot of free resources on my TpT site, things that I'm just sharing with you. And some of them are purchased because they took me quite a while to make. So that's why. And you have to buy the graphics. And like I have a membership in the Thistle Girl graphics company club thing. So that, you know, I purchased a license so that I could use the graphics and sell things. So, you know, it's just kind of recouping your initial purchase or whatever. So that sounds pretty good. I have a meeting at 3:30. So I've got about 10 minutes before I need to head upstairs to that. My daughter, I don't know what she's doing. Oh, she's going to Zaxby's with her boyfriend. I guess his dad's going to take them and I'm going to pick her up at his house later on my way home. And then we're going to grab some more Apple Jacks so we can do Apple Jack graphing tomorrow as part of our fun with math and fun with Johnny Appleseed. And also the students earned another Star Jar party. Yay. And they opted for ice cream again to the dismay of some of the students who did not want ice cream again. But I have a freezer full of ice cream. So I'm super happy to get that eaten a little bit more. We still have 4 half-gallons in there from the last go round where we used 1 gallon and now we've got, you know, 2 more gallons in there. So I should use at least 1 gallon tomorrow and still have 1 gallon left over. I still have chocolate topping and I still have caramel topping. They're still sprinkles. One student said, I want bananas. I said, well, you're welcome to bring bananas. I don't have any bananas. I said, okay, well then, if we have bananas, you can have them. If we don't have bananas, we just won't have them. It's fine. I still have a can of Spray Whip too. So as long as I don't go too crazy on them, they should all be able to have another sundae tomorrow. I've got lots of cups and I've got lots of spoons. So we're good on everything. So I don't have to bring anything tomorrow except for Apple Jacks. Yay! So I'm going to pick one of those big bags of the multi-meal kind up from the grocery store on the way home. Thankfully, it is right on the way home. Picking my daughter up is just a little jag over to the right and then zip. And I can go to the grocery store and then head home and be done. My supper should be defrosted. I just have to throw it in the oven. So that'll be easy to make. I need to make a poster for the family fun night for next week so that the librarian can blow it up on the poster maker. That would be cool. And my activities printed. I just have to put it in page projectors. It's a QR code stories thing with Elephant and Piggy. So I think that'll be good. I've got my outfit picked out for that already. I'm going to work both nights, I guess, because I don't have anybody to cover my activity on Thursday. So I'll just do both. But we get paid. So that'll be good. Get paid for 2 hours each night. That'll be nice. I think that's all I need to share. I think that's all. I think you know everything now. I'm just trying to get myself together. Oh, I filled out my little teacher checklist for my student who's struggling so I can turn that into the Hope team and get some kind of process going for him. I don't want to let it go because the quicker we can get him some more interventions, the better. A couple of my boys are going to start speech tomorrow. That will be good because some of their words and letters are hard to understand. Like the one especially, he'll say something and I'll go, what was that again? And I do pause for a second to see if I can translate it in my mind. Excuse me, but sometimes I just don't have a clue what he's talking about. And I feel bad because I'm sure it's frustrating. It would be frustrating for me if someone kept saying, what? And so that's why I kind of pause and I kind of try to think about what he was talking about so I can try to figure out the words that he's using, but it's not always possible. So he's very patient though, which is pretty amazing because he's not very patient in other areas. Maybe he's just used to it because he's had trouble with speech for a while. So hopefully that will help them. They're going to get 30 minutes a week on Fridays. And I made it through the week almost completely. Tomorrow is Maroon and White Day for our last day of Spirit Week for homecoming. Hopefully they win their game. That'll be awesome. They'll be all excited about that. And then we can have the weekend. Yay! It's getting close to pumpkin patch going time. I found this really cool pumpkin patch about an hour away that has a corn maze and a pumpkin patch and hay rides and like a campfire thing where you can roast like s'mores. So I think I'm going to call and make a reservation for that sometime coming soon. I like to go when it's a little cooler. Jacket weather. That's my favorite time of year. Jacket weather. Snuggly blanket weather. So whenever we do that, I'll let you know. I might be able to vlog a little bit and show you what it's like. That'd be cool. I guess I should probably get myself together and finish up what I'm doing and get my little list of kiddos and head up to my meeting so I can get out of here. So thanks for hanging in with me and my chitter chatter and spasticness this week. We have one more day and then the weekend. Yay, I think I can do it. So I will chat with you later. I hope you have had a fabulous week because by the time you see this, your week will be over. Yay. So I will let you know how tomorrow goes. I'm sure it'll be fine. There's a lot to do, but we'll get it done. And I was able to get all of my math lessons taught, and I didn't feel like I was killing myself today to do 2 lessons because one of them was pretty simple. And the kids were just like, oh yeah, that's easy. I was like, oh, thank goodness. So tomorrow I will do the chapter review, and then we'll take our test, and I'll be finished with chapter 2, and I can start fresh on Monday with chapter 3, addition strategies. Yay. So I'm excited to start fresh and have my data ready to go. I'll have time over the weekend to grade the test because they are like 4 pages because there are 12 questions, and some of them are hard to grade because you're not sure what the student was doing. It's open to interpretation, I guess. I do need to see how the other teachers are grading it because just like the chapter 1 test that I mentioned a couple of vlogs ago, I wasn't sure how people were doing it. If they counted it as just 12 questions or if they counted each component of a question as a thing. Because if there is something that required like 9 different things to be done in it, I counted it as 9 points. And they could get partial credit because I felt like if they got one of them right, they shouldn't miss the entire question. So that's how I did it. But that would change my results depending on if I didn't grade it the same way as everyone else. So that's something we probably need to decide as a grade level, how we're going to score these, because there is no scoring benchmark or whatever. No, there's no scoring guideline that I could find in my Go Math teacher materials or online. So maybe I'm overlooking it. If you have any experience with first grade Go Math, maybe you could clue me in and let me know if you know if there's a scoring guide somewhere that tells you how to score it. The only thing I saw was the answers that the students might give. Like the teacher guide has like the test and the answers, but I didn't see that it showed how much each one was worth. And that would make a difference in their percentage, because if you have 51 points possible, that's one grade. But if they only have 12 points possible, that's a totally different grade. So if you know and you can clue me in, I would love the input. I will chat with you tomorrow and let you know how it goes, and I will see you later. Hi, as you can see, I am not at school anymore. I am home. I did not get a chance to finish up the week at school on the vlog because the rest of the day was just crazy. So we took a spelling test this morning. We took a math practice test this morning. We had snack. Then we went to PE. Then we came back and we ate the rest of our snack. And then we took our math test and we went to lunch. We came back and took the rest of our math test. Then my terrific kid got to share his show and tell. I read 2 chapters of our read aloud. And then we ended up having our ice cream party, sort of. A grandparent showed up just randomly with cupcakes to celebrate homecoming. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll fit that in after lunch today. So the rest of my day was not at all what I expected it to be. It turned out okay, I guess. But since we were going to have cupcakes, I'm like, well, we don't need to have sundaes on top of cupcakes. So they each got a cupcake, and then we had some Neapolitan ice cream, so I just gave them a little scoop of Neapolitan on their plate with their cupcake and spoons, and they just ate that. And they're like, we don't get ice cream sauce? And I'm like, we'll do that next time. I said, because I think that's going to be too much sweet for you. Because we had Apple Jacks for snack, then we had lunch, and I think they had cookies at lunch. And then there was a little bit of time after lunch until we had the cupcakes and the ice cream. I thought, that's plenty of stuff. So yeah, I said, I think we're good. They were happy with that. Then I had them pack up when they finished, excuse me. And then we went to recess, and when they came back from recess, we had about 30 minutes before it was time to leave. Pikachu's rubbing on the tripod. Sorry. We had 30 minutes before it was time to leave. There he goes. And so I grabbed the iPad cart, and I just let them do free apps on the iPad. I said, you can do any app that is not GarageBand and not ChatterKids. So Starfall. One kid asked if he could go on Seesaw and draw, and I said yes. Anything that you know how to do that you can do by yourself without talking to another person when the lights are off. That would be perfect. I had the worst headache ever by the time we got to lunch. I thought I was going to throw up. I honestly, in my classroom, was kind of making sure that I was near a trash can in case I had to run to one. It was bad. Like my whole head just was hurting so much. So I finally got a chance to take some medicine. I almost did not eat any lunch, but I'm like, well, that's going to make me feel even worse. So I ate a little bit of something for lunch and then came back, and I just was like, It's just been a long week, and the weather here has been weird. It's been really, really warm and then cooler, and then it was foggy today, so it was humid. It was just yuck. So I'm sure that contributed to my headache. And plus, the kids were very hyped up from just everything. The theme days and all that. And the fact that it was Friday and it was homecoming, and the parade is just like a block up from our school on the main drag. So they were excited about that. And gosh, we didn't get to do ketchup and pickles time. We didn't get to do any Friday fun clubs. They didn't get to do challenge bins. We didn't get to do, I haven't done mad science yet, which I'm bummed about. So we're definitely going to do that in October. I might need to do 2 of them in October because, you know, October is a great time to do mad science. So Dr. Frankenbond may need to make an appearance a couple times in October as a surprise. Trying to think if there's anything else that Go Math, the end of chapter test takes 45 minutes. And I'm just, do you see my cat? He's playing in my water in the sink. Crazy guy. What a goofball. So yeah, I have my crock pot soaking because there is still a little bit of stuff stuck to the edge of it that I cannot get to come loose. So my husband's been scraping at it and then he rinses it and soaks it some more. So I think it like baked into the crock pot. I don't know. That crock pot's kind of old, so maybe that's why. I don't know. But TGIF, never was a truer acronym spoken. I don't know how to phrase that. Super glad it's Friday and I'm home. I didn't stay for the parade because I just didn't feel like it. Here's Mittens. I don't know if you can see her. Hey, baby. There she is, sniffing. Anyway, she came up to say hi. It is only 3:38, and we were allowed to leave early today because of the parade, because our school parking lot gets used to stage all the floats. So we're kicked out of our parking lot. And also, the cats are being crazy. If you don't find a parking spot for the parade, you just don't have a place to go to watch it. And you get trapped and blocked in. And it's really hard to get home from there. So we just left. We came home. I said, Caitlin, I hope you didn't have your heart set on watching the parade because I just really want to go home. She's like, no, I'm fine with that. I'm like, oh, good. It's a good parade. I like watching the band and the color guard. I like watching the flags. But honestly, the traffic it takes a good 20 minutes to just weed through the traffic to get away from the school. And then we have another 25 minutes home. So I didn't want to deal with any of that, especially with my head hurting. I didn't want to even hear the noise because they honk and the fire trucks go through and the police sirens and then the band and all the people. It's just too much muchness. So I am home, and I just thought I'd give you a recap of my crazy day. Next week, hopefully, will be more sane. I had intended on doing many more academic things today than I did, but it just did not work that way because the testing just took over. And I hate that. And I'm wondering, is the math test at the end of the chapter worth 45 minutes of my time to give? If we're not going to use the end of chapter test in order to reteach something, I'm not sure if it's worth the effort. I don't know. I need to ask someone what our expectations are and what we're supposed to do with the information we get from the test. Because I personally feel like it's kind of a waste of time. I had to bring them home to grade again like I did with the chapter 1 test because they're 4 pages. It's 2, front and back pages, 12 problems. But they're not just like, here's the answer. It's like one of them, the very last one, the kids had to explain their answer. And part of first grade writing is deciphering what the heck they wrote. Sometimes they're not even words. They're just letters strung together. So that's a lot of my time is spent trying to decode what they meant, trying to figure out what they were thinking. So I don't know. At least all my kids were here today, so I could test them all at the same time, which is good. But I don't know. I'm honestly having a very hard time with this whole math resource that we're using. I like some of the concepts. I don't like all of them. I feel like some of them aren't worth the time it takes to teach them, and really not something that they just have to move on in life. And I'm sure that as they go through school, these concepts will build, but there's a possibility that our district won't even stay with this resource. So I'm not sure what the big push was this year. Well, I do know I was on the committee that chose this resource, but we were not given the full deal. We weren't given all the materials that we were shown in the sample kit, and we were never given any training. So we were kind of shortchanged in that area. So I don't feel like we were given a fair deal on this. We were left to figure it out on our own, and that didn't really, kind of left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths when we first got it. This is our 3rd year with it. Last year I didn't open it at all. I didn't use it at all. The first year I used the first 3 chapters and then I gave up because I was like, I don't understand why they're doing it this way. My kids are not progressing in math as quickly as they had before when I taught math. And so it was just hard. It's hard when you see your kids struggling and you know it's the resource. It's not you, it's the resource that you're using. And you're not allowed to use any other resource. Which any other time, if I was using a resource and that particular lesson wasn't working, I would just use something else to teach that skill. And then I go back to the resource. I do know that the later chapters, like there are 2 books. We're in book 1 right now. And I think it's got chapters 1 through 5 in it, or maybe 1 through 4. I don't remember. I haven't gone that far. I'm barely hanging on by a thread. I brought my chapter 3 teacher book home so I could look at it. Every teacher edition is a separate little thing. So each chapter is its own little booklet. I'll show you. The teacher edition has 12, I think there are 14 units, I believe. I think that's right. I don't think it tells in the individual books. I'm thinking there are 14 different chapters. I think that's right. Anyway, whatever. So the teacher edition looks like this. This one is actually thicker than the first 2 were. But this has the, there's something on the back of this one. This has the higher numbered edition, like up to, well, the other one went to 10. The first chapter was addition to 10. The second chapter was subtraction from 10. The third chapter is addition to 20 and probably more. No, I think it's addition to 20 strategies. And then the fourth chapter is subtraction strategies from 20. And then chapter 5 is addition and subtraction. And then I think chapter 6 goes into place value more and double digit addition, if I'm thinking right. And then we also have measurement and data, and we have geometry. I think that's everything. Sounds like everything. Anyway, so yeah, I brought this home because I'm going to be starting chapter 3 on Monday. I'm going to do the first 4 lessons because Friday is our Terrific Kid Assembly, and that takes another 30-minute chunk out of our day. And it's right in the middle of my math time. And I'm like, I just don't see how I can get a whole math lesson in unless it's a shorter one. I don't know. I think I may use that as a reteaching time. Like I might have 20 minutes of our math time instead of like 45. I may just do something that kind of reinforces what we've been learning and then start on the 5th lesson on the next Monday. I don't know. I'm trying to stay with the pacing as much as I can and trying to keep up with the Joneses basically, which are all the other first grade teachers. I finished chapter 2 today with the test. So I'm good. I'm ahead of some people now. I was behind, now I'm ahead. So that's good. A couple of people have like one more lesson to teach and then they're gonna do their review test. I think one of them said they had taught the last lesson today. They were gonna do the review / practice test on Monday and do the real test on Tuesday and start chapter 3 on Wednesday. So I'm just a couple days ahead, which is good because then that gives me a little leeway if I want to redo something. That's kind of good. But yeah, so we'll all be ready to use our subtraction chapter 2 test data for grouping our next intervention groups. Because next week we're all doing double digit addition strategies, which is actually something that they teach in chapter 3. But that concept tends to be a little difficult for some kids, and so it doesn't hurt for them to get some more practice on that in intervention time. So that's good. I just made all my stuff before I left. I ran around like a crazy person today. I felt like I wasn't getting anything accomplished really. I got my 8 new iPads in my room, so they're waiting, and they came with a charging station. Before, I've had my iPads that I have now. I have 2 like power strips, so I can plug them all in. Because if you know what iPads look like, they're charging blocks. You can't plug them right next to each other. You have to have like leave a space in between. Like in a wall, you could plug them both together because the plugs are far enough apart, like the outlets are far enough apart. But like in a power cord, not a power cord, whatever the heck they're called, those little blocks. I don't have a brain left. I can't even use my vocabulary correctly. Like a power strip, the outlets are not spaced far apart in a power strip that you can plug. Like if there are 4 outlets, you can't plug 4 iPads in. You can plug like 3 maybe. Like 1 on each end and 1 in the middle. So since I have 5 iPads, And actually, I used my teacher one sometimes, so I would plug it in over there too. So I'd have 6. So I went and purchased 2 of those power bars so I could use it and put them together. And then I have that green basket that they all sit in. Well, we got, I wish I would have taken a picture. I'll make sure to show it on Monday because we'll start using them next week. It's like this little, I want to say it's like a gray or a white little thing. It's about this big. It has little slots in it and almost like file folder slots. And it's got enough space for all the 8 iPads, and then it has the little charging things are attached to it. And you plug this whole thing into the wall. So there's one plug. And then all the little cords come out of this and plug into the individual iPads. You can't lose the cords. And they're right there, and it's small enough it's gonna fit into my little basket to hold all of them together. It's gonna look so nice and neat and wonderful. I think it'll be great. And I've already taught the kids to plug their iPad in when they're finished with it. So that shouldn't be a big switch for them and just look a little different. That'll be really nice. And all the iPads are going to be the same. They're not going to be fighting over, I want the mini. No, I want the mini here. This mini doesn't have this on it. And this mini does. Because all of the iPads were supposed to have the same things on them. But they don't. They don't always. And they don't always get updated at the same time for whatever reason. So like one of them does not have a QR code reader on it. For whatever reason. I don't know how that happened, but so they can't scan the stories or scan the math thing, the math on the spot videos from their lesson pages. They can't scan it on that one because there's no code reader. So that shouldn't be an issue with these new ones. And when the tech people came in, one of them was the assistant principal, and then I saw the tech guy. The assistant principal came in and said, do you have a preference on which kids are on which thing? And I said, yes, I do. Let me go get my paper. And so I went over and got it. He goes, well, that was a good idea. I said, yeah, I had laid it next to my iPads. I laid the paper with the iPad so I couldn't lose it. I said, here you go. He goes, okay, I'll take this. This is great. So he assigned each, the 3 kids to a certain iPad the way I laid it out. And that way it'll work out great. I'm just rambling, I think, because I'm so fried. And Pikachu's just not knowing what to do with himself because I'm talking to myself barely. Anyway, so I'm going to wrap up this vlog so I can start editing and maybe get it up by Saturday morning. So hopefully you're watching this on Saturday, bright and early. And I will probably have more to tell you on Monday. I'm going to be grading a math test. And I'm going to be looking over their review because I tore all their pages out and took the review test so I could look at it at home. And I also brought home the spelling test because I had no time to check it at school. And I brought my recording pages so I can do that and be ready on Monday. I had to switch over all of my calendars to October because Monday's October 2nd. So everything in my room got switched over. I knew there was something I forgot to do. I forgot to switch over my jobs. Now I've got them picked out. All I have to do is just, like I have the new people's cards like vertical in the chart. I just have to like take the old ones out and just lay them down. So that'll take me like a minute to do. But I did most everything else. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I will see you on Monday. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. We have our turkey festival locally here, so I don't think we're going to go because I think my husband's going to work tomorrow, and I need to get some stuff done too. So while he's working, I'm going to work at home and get all my tests graded and recorded, and I need to make a poster for the family fun nights for next week. Because our librarian said if we got them into her, she would run them through the poster maker and make them big and really nice. So it may or may not happen. I'll get the poster done, but I don't know if I'll get it done in time for her to do that. So whatever. I'm okay if it's not gigantic. Whatever. It'll be fine. So, yeah. That's my week. I hope you've had a fabulous week. I hope you have a restful weekend and fun with your family. And I will catch you next week.